Have you ever been scrolling online, seen a video of someone famous, and just had this feeling, wait a minute, did they really say that? If so, you're definitely not alone. Welcome to the wild world of deepfakes. In this explainer, we are pulling back the curtain on the AI that can literally put anyone's face on anyone's body. We're going to break down what they are, how they're made, and, most importantly, how you can get better at spotting them. Let's dive in. So here's what we've got on tap. First, we'll nail down what a deepfake actually is, because the word gets thrown around a lot. Then we're going to peek under the hood at the surprisingly clever recipe for an AI face swap. After that, we'll arm you with a practical toolkit for spotting them yourself. And finally, we'll zoom out and look at the bigger picture, this high-stakes arms race between the people making fakes and the people trying to detect them. All right, so first things first. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's get our definition straight. What are we really talking about when we say the word deepfake? Well, here's a curveball for you, right from the folks at Computerphile. They say most of the videos you see online that people call deepfakes aren't actually deepfakes. Think about the crazy de-aging effects you see in big Hollywood movies. That's usually done with super high-end traditional visual effects. It takes a ton of manual work, and it's a whole different ballgame from the specific AI we're talking about today. So here's the real definition. A true deepfake is very specific. At its core, it's media that uses AI to replace one person's likeness with another's. And the engine that makes it all happen is a special kind of neural network called an autoencoder. That right there, that's the secret ingredient. That's what makes it a deepfake and not just some other fancy video edit. Okay, so this is where it gets really fascinating. How does a machine learn to convincingly plaster one person's face onto another person's head? Let's break down the recipe behind the magic. It's really a four-step process. First, you gotta feed the beast. Data. We're talking thousands and thousands of pictures of two different people. Let's call them person A and person B. Then comes the really clever part. A network called an encoder studies all these faces and learns to distill the key features, the pose, the expression, the tilt of the head, into what you can think of as a compact digital barcode. From there, two separate decoder networks are trained. One learns how to perfectly rebuild person A's face from a barcode, and the other learns to do the same for person B. And now for the swap. The AI takes a video of person B, creates a barcode of their expression, but then it feeds that barcode to person A's decoder, and boom, you get person A's face, but with all of person B's movements and expressions. It's kind of genius, right? Now, you might be thinking this is some top secret technology locked away in a university lab, but nope, it's surprisingly accessible. The tools are open source, meaning anyone can download them. There's one program on GitHub called FaceSwap that has over 30,000 stars. That's not just a number. That's a huge community of people downloading and experimenting with this stuff. And that accessibility is precisely why it's so important for all of us to understand how it works. So, with this tech out there for anyone to grab, the million-dollar question is, how can you spot a fake? Well, let's start building your personal detection toolkit, beginning with what our own eyes can catch. So let's get practical. What are the little giveaways you should be looking for? What are those telltale signs that a video isn't quite right? Well, lucky for us, researchers at the MIT Media Lab have put together a fantastic checklist. All right, the folks at MIT have got our backs. Their number one tip? Just focus on the face. That's where all the manipulation is happening. Look for skin that's maybe a little too smooth, or where the wrinkles don't quite match the person's expression. Check the eyes for weird shadows. Does the facial hair look kind of painted on? Here's a classic one, blinking. Early deepfakes were notoriously bad at blinking naturally, so the person might blink way too much or not nearly enough. And finally, watch the lips. Sometimes the synchronization is just a tiny bit off. It's these little imperfections that are often the dead giveaways. But look, relying on our eyes alone is a tough ask, especially as the fakes get better and better. So, what's the next line of defense? Well, you know the saying, fight fire with fire? In this case, we're fighting AI with more AI. And this isn't just a theory. There are real tools out there right now. A great example is something called the Deepfake-ometer. It's this open access platform that pulls together a bunch of different cutting-edge detection methods into one place. It's a testing ground for researchers, but it's also a tool for the public to play around with and really get a feel for how this detection tech works. And all of this, the creation, the detection, it leads us to this much bigger and frankly much more crucial point. This constant back and forth has kicked off a massive, high-stakes digital arms race. And when we say high stakes, we really mean it. This isn't just about funny internet memes. We're talking about politics, where deepfakes could spread devastating misinformation right before an election. We're talking about financial security, where someone could fake your face to get past a bank's biometric security check. And we're even talking about the courtroom, with the terrifying possibility of forged video evidence, like faked CCTV footage, that could completely derail a case. You know, the team at Computerfile had the perfect analogy for this. They said it's just like antivirus software. A new computer virus comes out, the security companies rush to create a patch to detect it, and then the virus creators just find a new way to get around the patch. It's this perpetual game of cat and mouse. So you've got these two sides locked in a constant battle. On one side, you have the creation tools, getting better, faster, and easier to use every single day, all striving for that ultimate goal, to be perfectly, flawlessly undetectable. And on the other side, you have the detection tools, which are always, by definition, playing catch-up. They learn how to spot yesterday's fakes just as the creators are building tomorrow's. So, how do we ever break this cycle? Is there a way out? Well, one really interesting idea for the future isn't about detecting fakes, it's about verifying what's real. The idea is to use cryptography. Just imagine if every single camera, from a security camera to the one in your phone, could embed a secure, unforgeable digital signature into a video file the second it's recorded. That signature could act as a seal of authenticity, proving where the video came from and that it hasn't been messed with. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most profound question of all. As this technology just keeps getting better, we are fast approaching a future where we genuinely can't trust what our own eyes are telling us. So, in a world where seeing is no longer believing, what can we actually trust to tell us what's real?